Hi YouTube, how's everyone doing today? This is Mrs. ThaiBox123, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about this little camera which is called the Samsung NX10. One of the most common questions Adam gets asked is, what is a good cheap DSLR camera for beginners? As a makeup artist, I take photos of my work, and I realised that with a normal everyday camera it just doesn't really get the picture I want, and it doesn't accentuate the makeup that I've done.
Guys, like I'm going to let her do a review of a camera like this. If it had one button and a bit of lipstick attached to the side of it, then she might have a chance. But there is a good reason why I'm bringing you this camera, the NX10, and like Jade says, it is because it's a great way of getting into kind of DSLR photography and also DSLR videography as well. And the reason for that is that it's A, cheap. I've actually looked around and you can pick this up for about £250 brand new from a whole bunch of places, and even cheaper than that second hand. Now the great thing about this camera is that it's actually very, very small, which means you can easily carry it around, and it's a lot more usable to just have with you on a day-to-day basis to get familiar with it. Another great thing about this is, even though it's very small, it packs a massive punch in terms of the sensor. This has got a 14.6 megapixel sensor, and it's not a small sensor. It's actually an APS-C size sensor, something you'd typically find in something a lot larger like the D7000. Now the fact that this camera's got a huge sensor inside it and is also packed with a whole load of manual features exactly the same as any DSLR camera is not the only reason that I'm bringing you guys some footage on this camera. One of the great things about this camera, in my opinion, is that it's got what we call an EVF Viewfinder, and what that stands for is an electronic viewfinder. So when you're actually looking through the viewfinder itself, instead of it being an optical view that's reflected via a mirror, it's actually a tiny little LCD screen. Now the good thing about that for beginners is that when you're actually looking through it, as you're changing the settings in manual mode, which is really where you want to get to have full control over your photos and videos, instead of just getting the view that you're seeing like you do for an optical viewfinder, you're going to actually get a kind of WYSIWYG view on your actual photo or your video. Now what I mean by that is, as you look through the viewfinder and you change your settings, you're going to get what you see is what you get in your actual photo. Whereas with an optical viewfinder on something like this, it's not what you see is what you get, and it could actually be completely different to what you're seeing unless you're actually in live view mode. Now because of that, this is really a great way to get yourself into DSLR photography at a very, very low price, and not only that, get absolutely fantastic pictures as well. Now this particular version of the camera came with the kit lens, which is the 18-55 kit lens. But another good thing about this particular camera is you can actually purchase from Samsung a whole range of converters that will allow you to put both Canon lenses and also Nikon lenses on this camera. So if you're actually looking to get some really good glass, but you're not particularly looking to stay with Samsung in the long term in terms of a DSLR camera, you can still invest in good glass from say Nikon or Canon, and then when you actually move to that camera later on, you'll have those lenses available for you at that time. Now in terms of the specifications, like I said, it's got a 14 megapixel sensor that's the equivalent size of an APS-C sensor. It's got a beautiful AMOLED screen on the back which produces really nice contrasty images when previewing your images and your video, and also in live view mode as well. It's got an ISO range of 100 to 3200 and also shoots in HD video at 720p but also at 30 frames per second. Now the NX10 shoots in both RAW and JPEG, although unfortunately not at the same time. It also doesn't have an external microphone input, which means that if you do want fantastic sound, you're going to have some kind of external audio recorder. The internal microphone on this is only mono, although it does reproduce a reasonably decent sound. Samsung themselves do offer a whole range of really nice lenses that fit nicely onto this camera as well. This is the 18-55, like I said, but they also do a 30mm pancake lens, which means you could literally use this like a compact camera and just put it in your pocket. Now when you start using this camera, like I said, one of the things that is very, very difficult to get used to is the EVF Viewfinder. Now what happens is the LCD display on the back flicks and changes between live view on the LCD display and up to the electronic viewfinder as you put your eye to it. Now, like I said, one of the great things about that is the fact that what you see is what you get. So as you're trying to learn manual mode and flicking through the settings, whatever you're seeing in the viewfinder is going to be exactly what the picture's going to come out like. However, the viewfinder itself is a slightly degraded quality to that on the back of the screen, or that you would see through an optical viewfinder, but still works really quite nicely. Now, in terms of picture quality, you get really nice pictures out of this camera, and also really good video as well, with the ability to do full manual control, which means that you're going to end up having much greater control over the pictures you're taking, rather than using a simple point and shoot or even a camcorder. When you're doing video, you're going to be able to get some reasonable depth of field depending on what lens you've got, so you're going to be able to get that nice blurry effect in the background in your videos, whereas with a camcorder or any kind of small compact, you're just not really going to be able to get that kind of effect. Now, in terms of picture quality, let's take a couple of snaps, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in what you call smart mode, which means that the camera is going to take care of the settings for us, and I'm just going to give you some kind of idea of how the pictures come out, even with this very basic 18-55 lens. Now, there's not really much to look at here, but we'll grab some shots anyway and see how they come out. There we go, that's one. Let's get something over there in the distance, right the way out at 55. And even on the viewfinder, even on the display on the back, you can see the pictures are coming out really nicely, really nice and contrasty, and also a great reproduction on this AMOLED screen on the back. Now, let's just walk around, and I'm going to take a few more shots, and then I'll put them up on the screen for you guys to have a look at as we finish the video. But I would definitely say, for those of you that are looking to move into the DSLR world of photography and also videos for you guys that do YouTube, this is going to be a great option for you to take that kind of first step and not add too much complexity to the learning process as well. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. See ya.